because we have some breaking news out of the recruiting world that also pertains to Alabama, and that is that five-star Jorden Edmonds, the number one cornerback in this class, has made his commitment, and he is picking the Crimson Tide. The top 10 prospect in the country was deciding between the Tide and Oregon, but opted to join DeBoer's crew down in Tuscaloosa. Mike, my question for you is, I'm having deja vu all over again. Alabama and DeBoer adding a prolific defensive back. So what does this latest ad say about what they're building in their secondary?
Yeah, Brett Greenberg, our recruiting reporter for Bama 247, was all over this one, expecting Alabama to be the team, and in fact they are. And so it's another five-star corner. It's 3 years in a row that Alabama has landed a five-star corner, and they've had some good ones even before that, going back to Kool-Aid McKinstry and Terrion Arnold and Patrick Surtain. So it's a position that annually you feel really good about at Alabama. Even last year with Xavier Brown coming in, Dijon Lee coming in this year, and then Edmonds, who, like Lee, is a longer, more physical corner, who's 6'2", 6'3", can really play some good press coverage. So that pipeline keeps on moving, and there's been transfers who have come in who are also pretty highly rated kids, and Damani Jackson 2 years ago and Cameron Calhoun now. That position is very well stocked. And really the question for Alabama is, can you keep them all? Because they've also had some issues with losing five-star corners through the transfer portal, simply because there's nowhere to put some of these guys. But it's certainly a position that recruiting-wise you have not had to worry about with Alabama, and it continues to show you don't have to worry about it going forward.
Yeah, you lose one, you got a few more back there that you can plug in the secondary. Mike Rodak, thank you so much for joining us here to talk some Alabama. Of course, you can check out more of his coverage on Bama 24/7. He mentioned his colleague, Brett Greenberg, has more on this Jorden Edmonds commitment. You can check out his work there. The basketball team, of course, making a run right now in the Sweet 16. So Bama 24/7 has you covered on all things Alabama. We're still talking here about the breaking news. Jorden Edmonds picking the Crimson Tide. Here's national recruiting analyst Tom Loy with more.
Jorden Edmonds is a huge win for Alabama for a variety of reasons. Sure, it's easy to say that. We're talking about a five-star prospect. We're talking about a position of need at cornerback and a 6'3", 175-pounder at that, a guy who's going to play right away and immediately impact the defense in Tuscaloosa. That's the easy reason to get excited if you're a Crimson Tide fans. But let's look at how they got this done. Because at one point, we absolutely expected Edmonds to be in Alabama's class by now. He was a heavy lean, but he wanted to take his time and make sure that his next decision was his right decision. That opened the door slightly for in-state Georgia and out-of-state Tennessee. However, in the end, this past weekend, that was the moment where Alabama got it done. Nothing else mattered. He visited with his mom, his sisters, some family members, and that was the point where head coach Kalen DeBoer, defensive coordinator Kane Womack, and especially defensive backs coach Mo Linquist sealed the deal, moved the needle, and got it done for the Crimson Tide. Look, in the end, he was looking for a coaching staff that he could truly connect with on a deeper level. He was looking for a place that felt like home, and he was looking for a place that would give him success on and off the field. I believe Jorden Edmonds found exactly that in Tuscaloosa.
Jorden Edmonds looking for a place to call home and a place that felt like home where he could fit right in, which sounds like what Mike Rodak was telling us earlier, is that these defensive backs coming into Alabama, just it makes sense, right? It's just what we've seen over the years and what we're seeing here now. What does this latest ad tell you?
Well, it tells me a lot what Mike said is, like, Alabama's not slowing down. I think we had a lot of question marks. You know, Andrew and Ivans talked about it in the offseason last year. What was Alabama doing in the southeastern region? That's the biggest thing that I take away. Yeah, they get a great player at a position of strength, but they get him out of the state of Georgia. This is a guy that everybody wanted. I mean, you're talking about the number one corner in the country who has elite-level size, elite-level athleticism, and we got to see him in Atlanta. Hudson Standish down there did a phenomenal job, and in terms of checking all the boxes, it's exactly what Jorden Edmonds provides. So talking about a long reactionary athlete, the ball skills, they flashed, the ball production, we're still waiting on a little bit, but the raw physical tools are really hard to come by. And then you think about what they've added in that defensive backfield over the last couple years in Tuscaloosa. Mike mentioned Xavier Brown. You think about Zay Mincy and Bakwe as well. Dijon Lee, another guy that kind of fits that 6'4" prototype. An embarrassment of riches. I haven't even talked about Ivan Taylor or Chuck McDonald as well. So give Alabama, Kalen DeBoer, Courtney Morgan, big A+ there.
So where does he fit among all of those great defensive backs that he's now going to have to compete against for some playing time?
He's just going to be another one of those guys. And, Damian kind of brought it up. It wasn't long ago before the transfer portal era. Guys like that, Marlon Humphrey, D. Milner, they had to sit. It wasn't always that you played early. And some of these guys, it's a blessing in disguise that you have to sit, wait, and develop. And I think Jorden Edmonds, the guys behind him as well, some of the names that I mentioned before, they're going to have to sit because there are a lot of good players in front of them. Damani Jackson, Xavier Brown, some of those guys that I mentioned, Xavier being the rare guy that played early. But the way that they are building that room, some of these guys are going to have to be a little bit more patient.
Yes, and as Mike was saying as well, there might not be some patience, and you might have to worry about losing some of those guys to the transfer portal. But when you just have the stockpile of great defensive back talent, you can afford to
good problem to have.
It's a fantastic problem to have. Yes, we all feel very bad for Alabama and trying to hold on to all of those 5 stars. But hey, if you enjoy commitments, well, we are Commit HQ, as we like to call you, and we are as active as ever. Coming up on April 7th, we'll bring you this live commitment from one of the top tight ends in the class. Brock Harris will make his decision live on this show. He is picking between BYU, Georgia, Miami, Michigan, Oregon, and Utah.